Shouts out to all the brothers and sisters out there in social media land, especially the brothers and sisters in Kansas City, Missouri. I got something I want to show you guys. I want to show it to y'all just as soon as the news come back on. As soon as the news come back on, we're going to show it to y'all. Many brothers and sisters are always talking about, hey, you should get Channel 4 out there. You should get the news out there to the community event. And I tell them, listen, we don't need anybody meddling in our affairs while we're trying to deal with our children and with ourselves. Plenty of people in this city know what's been going on with the community events. As soon as the news come back on, I'm going to show y'all something. So, y'all just hang in there and bear with me. Shouts out to all the brothers and sisters who have came alongside to do something great. We're truly doing something great. We have been to the city hall and everything behind this community event. And it's only going to get greater as long as we keep our focus in the right place. That means we're going to focus on us. We're going to focus on our children. We're going to focus on our community. So as soon as this news come back on, I just heard something that's about to come up on the news that made me like, wow. And I hope that when y'all see it, y'all be like, wow, too. Everything that we have ever done, everything that we as a people have ever been done, when it's good, it's always going to be those that come with seemingly good intentions, but really what they come to do is they come to rob and steal and break up something great that's happening. So, we're about to come back on in a second. So we're gonna see what they got to say when they come back on.
Coming up at 10 tonight. Have you still got the cars recently? Gas prices are up and it's supposed to go. Keep going up for a while.
Well, that's not it right there, but I'm sure it's gonna come up pretty soon. So basically what they is talking about is they're talking about roller skating now on Channel 4 News, and they're talking about some new roller skating park that done opened up. Listen, y'all got to understand there ain't nothing new up under the sun. When we had the Negro Leagues and all those wonderful things that black people were doing within their community, the first thing that they did was find a way to break it up. Break it up. When they grabbed Jackie Robinson into the baseball, into the National Baseball League, that destroyed the Negro Leagues. I'm waiting to see what they got to say. And every time, see, when they do something and they put something together, it's designed to destroy something that's good for us in our community. First thing that happened is that we decide that we're going to run to whatever that's been established. Nevertheless, we ain't start skating just because we skating. We were skating with a purpose to bring some self-awareness and some sense of responsibility to our people, to show us what we are capable of doing when we bind ourselves together as a hand and a glove. There's no limits to what we can get done, and when we unify ourselves in that manner, then that means that we can challenge these city officials, these government officials, when it comes to our community and our children. And when they see these things happening, they'll put something together and say, well, you know what, we'll put this together, and guess what happened? Guess what usually happens? All of the people usually leave what has been established to go eat some breadcrumbs when if they'll only stick together. If they'll only stick together, they don't need no breadcrumbs. We can go and say, this is what we want. This is what we want for our community. It's the same old thing. So that's why we try to teach people about the greatness that's on the inside of them, the God that's on the inside of them, the spirit that's on the inside of them, that small, still voice of the spirit that makes us understand that there is nothing that nobody can do to thwart God's purpose in any of our lives if we'll only listen to that small, still voice and then follow that. And these are all the things that we were aware of. And see, sometimes when it's trouble and things like that, then the powers that be, they can come in, they can shut it down, they can start messing with it. But when you got something that's beautiful, like what we've experienced throughout the course of the year, they know that they can't tamper with it, especially when they know the type of people that they're dealing with. They know they can't tamper with it, because if you tamper with it, now you give us an open door to deal with all of y'all. So sometimes they won't even bother it. They're just like, well, we're going to find another way to deal with this particular situation. It ain't no different. It ain't no different than many other things that we done went through. Many other things that we done went through. So to all my brothers and sisters that be saying that, hey man, you need to get the news out here. Hey, you need this. No, we don't. We don't need nobody coming out putting the spotlight on the negative things that's happening, because we ain't where we supposed to be yet. We're en route to where we are going, but we are not there yet. And so we don't want to bring all these outside influences in there. We see the Church of Scientology coming out, trying to recruit a brother, trying to bind. Hey, you ought to get together and put the skating event. But what we forget that, because you're getting millions of dollars to go and give our people some hot dogs and a hamburger and put something together. But then you put all the money in your pocket. You ain't put nothing in our community. Well, I want to hook up with you for every time they see something good happening, they want to come in and try to be a part of it so that they can swoop it right out from up under you. But it ain't going to happen like that. We're going to continue to assume the responsibility for our own children. We're going to continue to challenge the parents in the areas of responsibility and caring for people that's outside of your family. We're going to continue to make brothers and sisters aware of the fact that if the Father has blessed you abundantly to be able to take care of you and your household, then you got a great responsibility to make sure that you go out of your way to do for those that are without or those that don't have. It's our responsibility to do that. And with this particular community event, we have gotten some great things done. Even though it started out for skating, we got brothers out there that's moving away from these different street type of things that been going on. We are creating an environment, a wholesome environment of goodness, to where now we got something else to choose from. If we don't create the environments so that our children can make a choice of what they want to be a part of, then we doomed, because now we are locked into a specific thing. And there are many of our children, though they may be caught up in this type of stuff, that have to have a choice. There have to be an atmosphere created for them that they can make a choice to say, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. I want to go over there where it's nice, where it's fun, where it's everything. But you got to understand, you got unseen enemies behind the scenes that don't ever want to see anything positive created for our people or our children. And that's why it's so important that our parents, you're going to have to start listening to that small, still voice on the inside of you, which is the spirit that the Bible prophesied will be poured out upon all flesh. It is the Messiah who have came back into the earth to deal with his people from a stand of personal accountability. And you got to listen to that. And if we'll start listening to that small, still voice to say, you shouldn't do that. You should do it this way. You should go this way. You should go that way. So it ain't on yet. So I keep talking till it come on. That's what we got to listen to. And we have power in and of ourselves as individuals when we start listening to that voice. How much more power do you think that we'll have when all of us start listening to that small, still voice, and we're all binded together as a community? Nobody is no administrator, nobody telling another man or another woman what they should do, what they shouldn't do. Everybody have this instinct nature. They already know what's in them, what they can do, because it's already in you. It's already in you. And that's why I say you got somebody that'll bring the music. Then you got somebody that'll play the music. You got somebody that'll bring the food. You got somebody that'll cook the food. You got somebody that'll move the tables. You got somebody that'll sweep the floor. You got somebody that'll oversee what's happening out there. You got people out there that have a desire to just help other people. If somebody pass out from the sun or get sick or something like, everybody got a role to play. And when you start listening to that small, still voice of the Spirit on the inside, that Spirit will lead you. It'll lead you to whatever your purpose is and whatever gift that it is that you have to offer. You'll be able to bring that. But we as a people, we have to be mindful that one thing, don't ever want to see us collaborate and get together when it comes to the welfare of our children and the teaching of the next generation. Oh no, they don't mess with us about partying. They don't mess with us about all that stuff, because we've been doing all that stuff forever, partying and kicking it. And they don't care nothing about all of that, because none of that stuff cause you to sit down and think. But when we start doing good things, when we're dealing with the children, then that heightens a parent's senses, and they know that no parent wants their children to be a part of anything that's chaotic. So that means that parents' minds are in a whole completely different place. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. And if it don't come on now, I want y'all to be mindful of it, because I just heard it, and that's why I struck the camera. I said, what? Wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Roller skating rink? A new roller skating rink in town? We told the brothers during the pandemic when they did the thing at the park, when they got shut down because of not following certain guidelines. You get shut down. You say, well, okay, we'll go over here and this. No, we're not leaving our community park to go to nobody else's park. Either we're going to stay here, or you're going to create in this park the facilities that you have done with so many of our European counterparts that don't even live in this district, don't pay no taxes in this district, don't do none of that. And quiet as it's kept, I've been waiting on the park officials or somebody from the park of recreation. I've been waiting on them to show up and try to disrupt the thing that we have got started with the community event for that reason. Because if y'all try to disrupt it, then guess what? All these parents and all these children, all these voices, we're going to meet you, and then we're going to make you understand that this is our community. This is our park. This is the park that we pay taxes on. Starlight Theater is built up nice and neat for people that don't even belong in these districts. This comes at the expense of our money, our tax dollars, our hard-earned work money that we work for. The dog park and all these other things that have been put in the park. The Children Mercy's Stadium over there. All these things that have been put in the park have came at the expense of the people that live in the community and pay taxes in the community. And you better not even fix your mind to come and tamper with that. And if you think that you're going to come and tamper with that, you open up a can of worms that you're going to have to deal with. And we the can of worms. So, you know, the last time it was happening at the hands of people that didn't live in this community, people that wasn't a part of this community, people that didn't pay taxes in this community. So it wasn't that important. But this time it's far more important, because this is my community. This is where I pay taxes at. This is where many of the people that frequent the park live in this community. This is where we pay taxes at. You're not going to tell us what we can and what we can't do when we're responsible for making everything in this park beautiful for people that's coming from Overland Park, from Lee Summit, from Raytown, and from all these different places to enjoy the things that we pay for. Parents, we got to get our minds right. We got to get our minds right. We got to get our minds right. It's imperative that we got to get our minds right. We got to get our minds right. And I say to myself, you know, I don't have nothing against, you know, our city officials, this, that, the other, but don't talk to me about no broken up sidewalks. Don't talk to me about no streets, no potholes. That stuff is supposed to be automatic. Don't talk to me about none of that until you start talking to me about facilitating our children, about doing some things in these arenas where our children can be facilitated, where they can have somewhere to go, where they can be able to exercise their creativity and their imagination, where they can be able to be in a place to where their dreams can flourish, where we can be in a place to where we can start teaching them. Yeah, so now I seen it on Channel 4. They about to come out and start trying to propel everybody to some new skating arena that they have got. But guess what? If it's anything that they do, you can best believe that you ain't gonna be welcome. And that's what I told them about going over there on Holmes. I was familiar with Holmes, knew that skating arena was there long before anybody else did, because I had frequented. But I'm not going in nobody else's community. We have cultural differences. When we show up in those communities and we pull up with our clean rides and our loud music and we parking on grass and we got our drinks and we doing all of that, you see, these people are not going to stand for that, because they don't have the same we have cultural differences. It's not that we different from each other, it's just that we do things different from each other. So we have to fight. We have to fight, bind ourselves together, and then fight to be facilitated, so that we as a people can be able to do things in a manner that we do. Everybody else sees something wrong with the way that we do things. We don't go to the Starlight Theater to sit down and I see, how dare you gonna tell me that you're gonna bring an earth, wind, and fire and I got to sit in my seat all night. That's not my culture. That's not what I do. We get up and we clap and we dance through the aisles. We do all of these things. We don't do things like everybody else. We don't do things like everybody else. So I think my phone gonna die before that come on. But I want everybody to stay tuned. I'll find it tomorrow. But you understand that this skating just ain't about just roller skating. This is skating with a purpose. And it's a beautiful thing to see the whole community come together with one common goal to get some things done. What a terrible thing that it would be for us to keep accepting the breadcrumbs when we own everything. If we just reach out and get it, it's time out for that. You can't go nowhere in the community and get what rightfully yours. You go to the gas station, you got to give your money to somebody that don't look like you, somebody that don't respect you. You go to the grocery store, you got to give your money to somebody that don't look like you, somebody that don't respect you. Whatever you do in this world that you living in, you got to do it. But at the end of the day, none of them could survive if it were not for us. We're the most royal and regal people on the planet. If only we'll start listening to the small, still voice on the spirit that's inside of us that gives us God-like instruction and tell us what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Builds us up so that we can see deception coming from a mile away. It's our responsibility. It's not the government's responsibility to give us Section 8, to give us welfare, to give us all those things. All those things stagnate your dreams, your visions, your aspirations. They stagnate your growth. They can never give you what you can get on your own. That's what these community events are about. That's what they're about. We don't have to have no homeless people, but even if we do have homeless people, it's our responsibility to care for them. It's not the city union mission. We got drug addicts. It's not the government's responsibility. It's our responsibility because we have to find a way to plant a new crop and build up our people. Say you love God. Christian, Israelite, Muslim. This is your responsibility to let the light of the Most High's righteousness shine in this world so that all men can come to understand what it is that they possess. We are great people. And God have already poured his spirit out. Jesus have already came back. That's why when you're doing something wrong, you feel conviction. Where do you think the conviction come from? Where do you think that voice come from to tell you that you're out of order, that you're out of bounds? Where do you think that voice come from that helped you to rebuild your life? Who do you think that is? What do you think that is? It's not just by happenstance. So, my phone gonna die before this come on. But tomorrow I'm going to find it to my brothers and sisters in Kansas City, Missouri. You think the mayor and them don't know? You think the mayor and them don't know? Because one thing that councilman said when they had me down there is they said, and he knows no external or governmental support. It is all community support. And it sends shockwaves through City Hall because that's the most dangerous thing to people that have had their foot on our neck. That's the dangerousest thing that can happen to them. It's for them to understand that we don't need anything that you are offering. We can get everything done that we need to get done in and of our own selves. And even though we were in the city hall and all that and on TV and everything, you ain't seen no news cameras come. And they're not supposed to. I don't want them to come because when they come, they're not going to put a spotlight on the good things that we're doing. As I said before, we ain't all the way together yet. We ain't all the way there yet. Our parents ain't got all the way on the same page. So if they do come, guess what? They're going to put the spotlight on the Hennessy bottle that's sitting on the table. They're going to put the spotlight on the person that's out there smoking a blunt while the children are up there skating. They're going to put the spotlight on anything that is negative as a means to try to hamper what it is that we're doing. We don't need nobody at this particular hour interfering with anything that we are doing. We are dealing with ourselves and our own people and our own children. We give all praises to the Most High Heavenly Father and His glorious Son for what He is doing in the lives of His people. The prophets prophesied that in the last days the Most High was going to pour His Spirit out on all people. He said that Jesus would come riding, Yeshua would come riding in the clouds of the Spirit, and every eye would see, even the ones that murdered Him. Let me ask you a question. How would the people that murdered Him gonna see a man in mortal flesh coming? It's no way possible. He have revealed Himself. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither have it entered into the heart of them that believe, but it have been revealed to us by the Spirit that is inside of us. This is the promise that I promise you, the promise of eternal life. I'm writing these things to you concerning them which would seduce or deceive you, but you have been given the Spirit, and you need not that any man teach you anything, but that Spirit is what would teach you and lead you into ways of truth. Howbeit when the Spirit come, He shall lead you, He shall guide you, He shall lead you in ways of truth. He shall only speak of me, and there is no lying in Him. You see, the Spirit is here, and every last one of us that believe are possessors of that Spirit. But we got to get to the place to where we can understand how to hear the small, still voice of the Spirit. Cut the radio off, cut the TV off, get away from people, get away from your pastors and all these different people, and sit down in the quiet and tell the Lord what David said. Speak to my heart, create in me a clean heart, and renew a right spirit in me, and watch what happens. This is a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde scenario. Dr. Jekyll experimented with life trying to make something happen, but Mr. Hyde was the spirit on the inside that constantly telling me, let me out, let me out, let me out. If you let me out, Dr. Jekyll, I'll destroy every unclean thing in your life. If you let me out, Dr. Jekyll, I'll destroy everything that got your flesh bound. I'll destroy everything that's coming against you. This is a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde scenario. The Mr. Hyde represents the Spirit of God that's locked up on the inside of us, because we have a treasure in this earthly vessel, but it's up to us to realize it. We have been up under the feet of other people for too long. We have been in a docile state of mind for too long, ignorant, not knowing what it is that we possess on the inside, not knowing what our responsibility is to be a kingdom of priests in the world.
Says it will continue to host the remembrance, so Kansas City never forgets.
That ain't it. You see, that's what it is. It's the Spirit that leads us and guides us in the ways of truth. Men will deceive. Men are not people that can bring conviction. No man on the planet can show another man what God's will is, what God's purpose is for his life. That's why we try to teach these things using examples of real life. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that's on your heart, that's what you put your hand to, because that's what the Spirit on the inside is leading you to do. And we all start moving by that thing right there. We become a force to be reckoned with in this world. It's our responsibility to care for not just us. When we raise ourselves up, it's our responsibility to care for the world. Thou art a lion's whelp, and your hand shall be in the neck of your enemies. Thy brothers shall praise you. The scepter, the rulership, the kingship, the leadership shall never depart from between your feet. We have taught the world math, science, mathematics, arts. We have taught the world dancing. We have taught the world singing. We have taught the world swag. We have taught the world dressing. We have taught the world everything that the world knows. But the only people that ain't never got a hold of it is us. And we're going to have to do something. And this video about to end because my phone is about to die, but I want all of y'all in Kansas City, Missouri. If you got Channel 4 News, turn to Channel 4 News so that you can see what's about to happen and what they're about to put on there. Because you ain't ever heard anything on the news about no type of skating event, no type of skating arena, no type of nothing. You ain't never heard none of that on no news. And the only time these people are going to come out is when they want to break up something that's good, that's already happening. And we can't keep falling for the same thing. We are a kingdom of priests, and we are a royal priesthood. That's why we hate it. We shouldn't get mad about racism. We shouldn't get mad about you're supposed to be hating. Anytime you're flowing through life and you moving through life in such a way that causes people to say, wow, that's bad, you're supposed to be hated, because admiration will turn to envy, and then envy will turn into hatred, because no matter how much the world have learned from us, when they look in a mirror, they realize that they can never be us. And so in order for us not to be in the place of rulership, in the place of leadership, in the place of giving instruction to the nations and to the world, they must keep you in a place to where you are ignorant of not only who you are indeed the children of Abraham that left Jerusalem in 70 AD, sold into North, Central, South America on slave ships, dispersed into the Americas all over, and then had your name, your history, and everything removed from you. If you don't know that, you don't know that by biblical knowledge. You can know it by ways of the life that you are living. Because everything in this life shows us what a royal and what a regal people are. And the Messiah says, suffer the little children to come to me. This is a warning against the parent. Whosoever teaches one of these little ones to go in a wrong direction, it would be better for him if a millstone was tied to his neck and we were thrown in the sea and choked in the sea. So you have to be careful, because of the things that you do in front of the children is what you teach them. You can't be twerking in front of your daughters. Prostitute not your daughters, or else the whole land gonna be full of whoredom. You can't be walking around with guns and clips hanging out of the side of your pants, making young men think that this is what they're supposed to do. You can't be doing that stuff. You become an instructor of unrighteousness. So, it's what it is. The phone ain't gonna last that long. So I'm just going to end the video right here. Y'all check Channel 4 News out and see what they're talking about some new skating arena, some new skating ring. The very skating rinks in this city can't even survive if we didn't go and spend our money. And we're going to spend our money with people that care absolutely nothing about us, don't open no doors for us, don't make no ways for us to make money and feed our children and do business, and we continue to go and do those things. You see, something wrong with us, and not something wrong with everybody else. So y'all can miss me with the white man, it's the white man, it's the white man. See, we ain't never needed a handout. That's why we're in the condition that we in. We ain't never, as a people, we ain't never needed nobody to give us a handout for nothing. And we can make those excuses. So, that being said, peace and blessings.